This is Tactical Wednesdays on Eagles Tracker. Please, guys, let me know where you are tuned in from. Let me just greet you very, very quickly. If you are going to be sticking around, if you are just going to come for 2 minutes and leave, don't tell me. But if you are going to be sticking around, please let me know where you are tuned in from. I want to just greet you and appreciate you quickly. If you are watching on YouTube, please make sure you hit the like button and like the video, share with people so that other people can tune in. If you are not on YouTube, please switch over to YouTube so that you can enjoy the full show uninterrupted. Um, and if you're not already subscribed to the channel but you're watching on YouTube, please make sure you hit the subscribe button so that you can enjoy all our content, not just this Tactical Wednesdays, our interviews, our debates, conversation. We had a nice debate yesterday and it's still causing some quanta on social media, but I don't want to get distracted by petty drama. Um, I don't want to get distracted by petty drama. Today is supposed to be for tactical discussion and analysis. So yes, please let me know where you're tuned in from. Let me know where you're tuned in from. I see you from Nashville, Tennessee. I see you. Thank you for joining. Thank you. Osako is joining from Nigeria. Where in Nigeria are you? Kelvin is joining from Dubai. Lewechi is joining from Seattle, Washington. Smith, I mean, if Smith wants to join, he can always join. Um, if Smith wants to join, he can always join. And if anybody wants to join as we go along, feel free to let me know and I can bring you on. But I want to go through, you know, a couple things first before I start getting people to share their thoughts and to join the program as well. Like I said, tactical Wednesdays. So we're talking about Christantus Uche today. We're talking about somebody said from Akwa Ibom, somebody said from Dubai, UAE. Okay, thank you guys. Like I said, we're talking about Christantus Uche today. Young player, energetic player, has had a good breakout season in the Spanish La Liga playing for Getafe. And I think the question that so many people have had is one, or the questions, one, why has he not been called up into the Super Eagles squad yet? A lot of people have asked that question. Two, what position does he actually play? Is he a striker? Is he a midfielder? And three, what exactly can he do or can he bring to the Super Eagles if he does get called up? Those are three questions that I am hoping that we would be able to get answers to on the show today. Even if we cannot get direct answers, we should be able to have a better understanding or get closer to the answers. I hope you guys understand what I'm saying. I'll start with reviewing some video. Oh no, actually, I'll start by showing you guys a little bit of his profile before we get into video, just so that I think we might be able to answer one of the questions early enough. So, I guess the question of what position does he actually play? I've been on record in the past saying, oh, he doesn't play as a midfielder for his club, so it's hard for me to say call him to the midfield in the Super Eagles. People tell me, oh, well, he used to play as a midfielder when he was playing for Quetta. Then I'll tell them, well, I don't really care about Quetta because Quetta was not a professional team. And then there's a lot of back and forth and misunderstanding that happens. So I just want to show this so that people can see um, and can have an understanding of what his positioning looks like for the most part so far this season. Okay, if you guys can see my screen, this is Christantos Uche's profile, career overview so far. You can see 22, 23, 24 Quetta down below, but we don't really care about that. It was in the Primera Division RFEF, playing as a semi-pro player. I'm not analyzing anybody based on their semi-pro career. Let's get into the pro conversation, into the talk about him as a professional player, and that is his time playing for Getafe in the La Liga, and of course, you see as well in the Copa del Rey. Sorry, guys. You can see, looking at his positioning. So I'm trying to adjust this. Yeah. As we can see, if the two positions that he largely starts at, midfield and striker, so he can play both. Christantus Uche can play as a midfielder and he can also play as a striker. But as you can also see in the diagram, the circle for midfield is much smaller than the circle for striker. And the reason for that is because most of the time, more often than not, he starts as a striker. Now, does he mean that he is not a natural midfielder? No. Does he mean that he cannot do a job at midfield? No. But analyzing the data, because all this is just based on data, analyzing the data, you can see that the circle here is bigger than this one. So most of the time, Christantus Uche plays as a striker than as a midfielder. Now, let's look at the heat map as well as just the positioning. When you look at player heat maps, what they tell you is the position that the player is occupying on the field most of the time. Obviously, you can see from his heat map that he's everywhere across the field. But the hot zones tell you where he is more often than not. As you can see, I did not manipulate the image in any way. This area, this is his hot zone. You can also see a little bit of yellow up here up front. You can see a little bit of yellows here, but obviously, this is the hot zone. What that tells you is that this part of the field is the area that Christantus Uche occupies when he's playing more often than not. This part of the field. Now, let me see if you guys are engaged with me, if you guys are still sticking with me. Based on the heat map, based on the hot zones on the field, what position would you say he's occupying more often than not? I just want to hear from a couple people, please. What position would you say he's occupying more often than not, based on his heat map and the hot zones that he has on the field? Where would you say he occupies more often than not if you had to, pinpoint it to one position on the field? Where would you say he occupies more often than not? I want to see what you guys are going to say. Okay, someone says 11. Any other comments? Any other opinions? Another person says left wing. Somebody says left side of the attack. Okay, so clearly, based on the position that he occupies when he's playing for his club, it is hard for you to look at this heat map and say, oh, this is the heat map of a center midfielder. I think we can all agree on that. You cannot really look at that and say, that's the heat map of a center midfielder. He starts, it's funny enough, the person I'm talking about is joined the live. Shout out to Christantus Uche. But most of the time, he starts as a striker based on this. Most of the time, he occupies the left side of the attack. Now, this could be down to a bunch of different things. This could be down to positioning from instructions from the coach. This could be down to just where he finds it easiest to receive the ball. This could be down to maybe because his team plays under pressure and he has to, follow a man or something like that. But this is not the heat map of a center midfielder. So that's just something that I wanted to show initially. If you look at it, it's hard for you to say it is the heat map of a center midfielder. I wouldn't start boring you guys yet with more numbers and more data, but I want to show you guys some videos. So some things that he's obviously good at, you know, will be observed as we go through some of these videos, and you guys will understand a little bit more of what I'm saying. Now, this first video is a video of an assist, because something that a lot of people like to talk about is, oh, he gets goals, or he gets assists. And I mean, numbers don't lie. He has how many goals and assists this season? Numbers don't lie. But ultimately, people sometimes don't watch games. So they just look at the numbers and then they form opinions. But then one thing that we cannot ignore in life is context. Context always matters. Context always matters. So I hope that the videos are able to provide some additional context to certain things and certain things about his performance. So this is an assist that he got. So it's a throw into Getafe from the left side. Ball comes in. As you can see highlighted there, this is Christantus Uche coming towards the left side of the penalty area. We keep playing. He heads the ball on, and then his player finishes. Now that is an assist. You can't take it away from him. He assisted the goal, but that was not an assist that was born out of creativity. That shows his aerial prowess. That shows his ability to win duels in the air. Headed it back into a good space. Good awareness to realize that his teammate is probably occupying that space. Heads it back, and then his team gets a goal. Let me show you guys another clip. I'll show you another clip of a goal. So this is a goal scored by Christantus Uche. So the first thing to note here is look at the position that he starts from again. If he was a center midfielder while his team is on the attack, he'll be somewhere in the middle of the pitch. Obviously, you can see that he's very high up. In fact, he's between either the fullback and the center back, or the two center backs. It's hard to tell from this image exactly who those players are. But if we keep going in the video, he drops deep a little bit. Still one of the highest players. The defender sells game. Christantus pounces on it, and he finishes well into the bottom left corner. Well taken goal, well taken finish. But again, that kind of shows you his starting position for even the goals that he scored. I have another clip that I would like to show you guys. I believe it is another assist of his. Let's look at another assist. Long ball from the goalkeeper. Once again, starting position, because I think that this is something that is very key for people to actually notice and see. When we talk about where does he play, what position is he playing? A long kick over the top from their goalkeeper. Who's the highest man on the field? It's him. He's the highest man on the field. When you look at that, is it a central midfielder starting position? No. We keep playing. Wins the first header. Ball comes back. Okay, this wasn't an assist. It was just one of his aerial duels. My apologies for that. So that is just showing you guys again positioning on the field, starting position, because I think it definitely matters. Um, Let me see. I believe I have another one. Yes, I think this one should be an assist. So this is a counter attack. Getafe on the break. You can see him occupying this left position. He's obviously coming from the defense and trying to catch up with the rest of the team. You can see him raising his hand on that left side. The video keeps going. He occupies the left wing position. He gets the ball, crosses into the box. His teammate finishes well. So again, another contribution, but this time from the left side of the field. From the left side of the field. So I think when we talk about position where he plays, we can say he plays more as an attacker for Getafe. I think it's fair to say that. Now, I have not said he is not a midfielder or he cannot, like I said when I started, he is a natural midfielder. That's where he was born and raised. But based off of where the Getafe coach has been utilizing him, he's been playing more as a forward, as a striker that is occupying everywhere in the front and tends to occupy a lot of left sided attacking positions. Okay? So that is that. Just in case somebody is just joining me, let me explain what's going on here. We're looking at Christantus Uche's game. We're looking at some of his clips. We're analyzing how he is used at his club. We're analyzing what he can do. We want to talk about his strengths. We want to talk about his weaknesses and how he can make a difference and the attributes that he can bring to Nigeria. So some people that are commenting, calm down, eh? Calm down. I came to give a general overview. I'm not arguing any point with anybody here. I came to give a general overview. Later, if you want to come and argue something based on the data and the videos that we see, feel free. But this is just to give a general overview of those things. Like I said, the goal is to answer three questions. What position does he play? What can he bring to the national team? And why has he not been called up yet? So it is not, I'm not arguing anything based on feelings or based on sentiments. I am showing videos, I am showing data. I started by showing his positioning on the field with his heat map and where he starts most games. I'm just talking based on data, based on video that is available. Anything else is feelings and his opinions, which we're all entitled to our opinions, but we have not yet reached the opinion part of the show. We are still looking at the data, at the video to judge. So now, going back to some numbers, I'll come back to a couple more videos, but I want to go back to some numbers. Goals scored in the league, he has 3 goals, currently ranked 71st. Assists in the league, he has 5 assists, currently ranked number 12. Shots, he's 27th in shots with 46 shots this season. Passes, he's 89th with 17.78 passes per 90 minutes, and he's averaging a 73.43 passing accuracy. In terms of crosses, he doesn't put that many crosses, 0.82 crosses per 90 minutes, ranked 82nd in the league. Short assist, zero point 0.6, second assists, where is he? 17 with 2 touches in the penalty area, 91st with 2.53 touches per 90 minutes. So, one thing that this also shows us, these numbers show us, is that even though he tends to play from an attacking position, somebody said my voice is off. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Sorry. What do you mean by that before I continue? What do you mean by my voice is off? Before I continue, please, somebody just help me understand. Can you guys hear me properly? Can you guys hear me properly? Please just confirm before I keep going. Someone said it is lagging behind as you speak. But another person said my voice is on. Okay. I am not sure. I hope it gets fixed. Some people are saying it's off, some people are saying it's not off. I'm a bit confused. But let's just keep it going for now. Let's just keep it going for now. Okay, so well, like I was saying, based on his number of crosses, his number of short assists, his number of, especially I'm looking especially at his number of touches in the penalty box at 2.53. Yes, I know that his team is not a very attack minded team. His team is not a very attack minded team. They're not one of the strongest or stronger teams in the league. So a lot of the time, they tend to play on the back foot. They tend to be under pressure. Okay, someone said the video is not synced. The video is ahead of the audio. That might be an internet connection thing. I don't know if I restart my internet. I don't want the live stream to end. My apologies for that, guys. My apologies for that. I hope it is not too difficult for you guys to follow. I'll try to give decent pauses as I'm speaking. I don't know. Okay, give me 1 second. Let me see if I can try to fix this very quickly. My apologies, guys. Give me 1 second. Can you guys hear me? Is it working any better now? Before I keep going, please let me know. Is it any better now? Is it any better? The devil is a liar. Is it any better now? Please let me know, guys, quickly so that we can just keep going. Okay, let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. Okay, so as I was saying, based on his number of touches in the penalty area, as much as he's starting from a striker position, as much as he's occupying a left attacking midfield position, he is obviously not a number nine. He is obviously not a number nine because he is not necessarily, trying to camp in the penalty box. He is not necessarily trying to get on the end of crosses. He is not necessarily trying to score goals. So he's obviously not a number nine. At this point, based on the data that we've kind of reviewed, I would say we're looking at an attacking midfielder. Starts as the most advanced player in his team, but tends to occupy mostly attacking midfield positions. So I don't know if you guys agree with me on that, but that's kind of like what the data is pointing me to. Let's see. I don't want to really look at received passes. So One of the things that I also want to highlight: progressive runs, 65 or 65th in the league with 1.34 progressive runs per 90 minutes. But interestingly enough, that is actually one of the things that I quite like about Christantus Uche. I think he's a player that likes to play with intention, likes to play with direction, and likes to be progressive. And that's one of the things that I think he can bring to the team. Um, his 1v1, his dribbling is something that can be noted. Let me mute this just because of copyright. So looking at this video, let's look at this. So once again, from the left side of the field, goes between a couple players and then gets fouled. So I was talking about how I like his progressiveness with the ball. I think that also has to be encompassed with his ability to win fouls. That is something that he does very well. That might not necessarily show in the numbers when you look at them, but it's something that can be very beneficial to a team. The way he has his strength, the way he uses his body, the way he gets himself between the defensive player and the ball. Christantus Uche is very, very good at winning fouls. He wins a lot of fouls, a lot of fouls. And that is something that can be beneficial to the Super Eagles of Nigeria. The only issue is that the Super Eagles don't really be doing well from set pieces, but that's a whole other conversation. The Super Eagles don't really be doing well from set pieces, but this is a player that can help us to drive the ball forward and can help us to win fouls. Now, is that a skill that is useful for a midfielder? Yes, it is. Getting the ball center midfield position, driving it forward, and trying to win a foul, trying to lay it off for your more creative players, definitely something that can be beneficial. So that is a plus for him. That is something that I like Christantus Uche for. That is something that I like Christantus Uche for. I think I have another video that I can show you guys about just his ability to win fouls, and also show you a little bit of his dribbling ability. Let's look at this one. So in this clip, you can see Getafe is currently on defense. He's still once again their most advanced player in the center of the park. We keep playing. They win the ball back. Uche gets the ball, drives forward, gets towards the edge of the box, and ultimately he is fouled by the player there. Now, I'm trying to look at it. Maybe if you want to be critical a little bit, you can say that that touch that he just took was a bit too heavy. And if he did not take that heavy a touch, he would have been able to release number 14 here. If you want to be critical, you can look at it like that and say, yeah, his touch was too heavy. If it wasn't that heavy, he could have passed number 14, and number 14 would have easily got a chance or a shot on target or something like that. I would say you're not quite wrong about that. But ultimately, he was still able to win a free kick. This is a free kick in a very dangerous position. If if the team has a good set piece taker, that is a position that any good free kick taker is licking their lips and saying, "Boy, I want to get it right on the edge of the box. Not too close that the wall is going to block it for sure, but close enough that you can get a good shot on target and potentially a goal." Now, I'm sorry to break you guys' hearts. The issue is that the Super Eagles have not shown to have any set piece taker. We've not shown to have any set piece taker that can really do that. Let's keep talking about his progressiveness and his ability on the ball. Let's look at some data. Let's look at some data to back this up. Now, this is a map of his ball progression. As you can see, first of all, this is a player that is all over the damn field. All over the field. He's everywhere. He is on the left, he is on the right, he is in the middle, He's running in all kinds of directions. All kinds of directions. But I like the progressiveness. I like the progressiveness. A lot of the time you can see he's trying to go into the box. He's trying to get his teammates involved in play. The passes are in gray, the runs are in black. He has a nice mix of them. If we look at the distances that he's running, so progressive passes 0 to 20 meters, 66.7% of the time he's accurate. But when he's making those long progressive passes, 100% of the time he's accurate. Is it almost looks as if the longer the pass, the better, the more accurate he gets. Somebody said that because what I said about we don't have set piece takers, that doesn't include corner kicks. I know that Ademola Lukman takes our corners now and does a good job of it. But for the most part, the Super Eagles, I don't want to get into a semantics argument. But for the most part, the Super Eagles don't really take advantage of most set pieces that we get. We have maybe improved more recently, but this is something that we knew for a long time. Ademola Lukman has come to save the day a little bit. So now we can see that he makes these progressive passes a lot. And we also showed some clips about his progressive runs and how he likes to drive with the ball and potentially win fouls. Somebody's asking who am I talking about? His name is here, Christantus Uche. The only issue with these numbers that we're looking at currently are the progressive runs. The progressive passes seem to always, for the most part, be accurate, especially when going over longer distances. But when he runs with the ball, these are the events after progressive runs. 70.6% of the time, when he runs with the ball, he loses it. Now, the losses, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think the data is a little bit skewed because if he gets fouled, they still count it as a loss of possession. I think. I think. So I'm not sure it is as bad as the data presents it to be. But let's even say 10% of those times were fouls. Then the remaining 60% were actual losses of possession. It just means that while he is good at running the ball forward, he is good at progressing the play. Maybe he doesn't always make the best decision. Maybe if the losses are this high, 21% of the time it leads to an accurate pass, which is a good thing. Five was let's say 6% of the time it leads to a shot, which is a good thing. You're creating chances. Or he's taking a shot rather. But losing the ball 70.6% of the time is not the best. Again, I think that the data is a little bit skewed because it might be showing times that he got fouled and they're adding it to the losses. I think so. Let's just bring that number down to maybe 60% and say 10% goes towards fouls. I think what it kind of just signals there is that the decision making can be better. Does it mean that he's bad? No. But I think it's something that while we like the fact that he has that energy to move the ball forward, we like the fact that he's a very direct player. We like the fact that he can bring his teammates into play with his strength, with his ball. We like the fact that he can win fouls in dangerous areas for his team. I think we should just acknowledge the fact that maybe that final decision towards the end can be better. Like how we were looking at that last clip and saying, well, maybe he could have passed it or he could have released the ball better. Maybe he could have not taken that heavy touch. But he's a young player. He's a player that is still growing, that is still learning. I think that these are things that with more, watching his videos back, more understanding of his game, these are things that he'll get better at. These are things that he'll get better at. So that is something that the data is showing me over there. Are you guys getting me so far? Just so that I'm sure you guys are actually on the same page with me. Are you guys on the same page so far, please? Are you guys getting me? Are you guys getting me? Okay, Ifeanyi, thank you. Ifeanyi says yes, thank you very much. Daniel says if you can't run well with the ball, you're not a very good AM though. He can run with the ball. He can run with the ball. I think it's all about the decision making at the end that can be better. We're not arguing that he's Kevin De Bruyne. We're not arguing that he's Bruno Fernandez. But obviously he's a good young player that we believe will keep getting better and that has shown some quality. So I wouldn't necessarily say, oh, he can't run with the ball. I think he can run with the ball. Maybe the decision making at the end can just be better. Releasing the ball, earlier, things like that might be things that he can get better at. Okay, Omolaja says we are getting you. Thank you guys. Thank you for the engagement. I just want to be sure I'm not talking to myself. Okay, another thing that I want to show. You know how we were looking at those numbers of his progressive passes, and you can kind of see that when he's playing a longer pass, his accuracy somehow seems to be higher the longer the distance of the progressive pass. I think I want to show maybe one or two videos of assists or through passes that he played. Let's look at this one if I have the right clip here. So once again, kind of observing the same thing. From a throw-in, Getafe, you can see Christantus Uche occupying a left attacking midfield position, which is where, based on his heat map and based on the videos that we've been seeing so far, which is where he likes to occupy on the field. So you see him on the left. The attack continues. He gets the ball. Now, look at that highlighted space. That yellow or whatever color circle. Look at this player that is making the run. I just think not everybody can have that kind of vision. And I want to commend him. Not everybody can see that at the pace of the game. A beautiful dinked pass, and his teammate does him justice by finishing beautifully. I think that this is an ability that he has. He doesn't show it every single game, but the more he can incorporate things like this into his play, the more exciting a player he's going to be and the more goal contributions that he can have. I was really, really impressed by this. I'll play it again. Once again, you see him on the ball, you see that space where his teammate is running into, a beautiful dinked pass and a good finish by the teammate. I thought that was a very, very fine assist. That pass was maybe 20 meters or thereabouts, maybe less. I'm not sure. I don't have a ruler. But I thought that was a beautiful play and something that, you know, I gave him kudos for. Let me see. I think I have another one. Oh, I think this might be the same clip. Yeah, this is the same clip. My apologies. Okay, I cannot find the clip that I was looking for, but I'll try to find it and show you guys before we end this live. But that's something that I think is an underrated ability that he has. His ability to play those defense splitting passes, and that is something that we are looking for. That is something that we are definitely looking for because a lot of the time, our midfielders are not really too involved in our attacking play in terms of playing those passes between players that can really really cause issues for opponents. That can really really cause a lot of harm. And when I saw that, I thought it was impressive. I thought it was impressive. Um, Somebody says, I think he can fill the gap for Ndidi because Ndidi lacks the strength to move with the ball. I am somebody that frankly disagrees with that sentiment. I don't know where you guys heard or figured out that Ndidi lacks the strength. I think I personally do not agree with that sentiment. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to lie to you. I disagree with that. I also think that he and Ndidi do very, very different jobs on the pitch. I don't think that they are necessarily the same kind of player or competing for the same, you know, shirts in the team. Honestly, I think that there are different kinds of players. I understand that a lot of people are maybe not the biggest fans of Ndidi right now, so they look for every opportunity to say Ndidi is not doing this or Ndidi is not doing that. But I don't see how he and Ndidi are necessarily playing the same role, because as much as Ndidi is not necessarily able to do some of the things that he does, in terms of the passing for sure, in terms of maybe the acceleration, indeed he cannot accelerate like him. Don't get me wrong, indeed he definitely cannot accelerate like him. I just think that the tackling, the way indeed he covers the ground, the way indeed he is very involved, those are also things that we should not take away from Wilfred Ndidi. People were very critical of Ndidi because we considered that late goal against Zimbabwe. But if you watch the two games, Rwanda and Zimbabwe, indeed it was very, very crucial in terms of sweeping plays up. Very, very crucial. Very crucial. So I think maybe we should calm down a little bit the way we talk about Wilfred Ndidi. I know people don't like him right now, but I think we need to calm down a little bit. Put some respect on his name. Let's put some respect on his name. I want to try to find clips of Uche's acceleration a bit more to just show you guys some of the threats that he continues to pose as well. Yes, Uche says he's not a defensive midfielder. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's not a defensive midfielder. So I don't think that people should necessarily be comparing him to Wilfred Ndidi.
Well, obviously Barcelona.
Mute that quickly because we don't want to get copyright strike. Okay, I think this is a clip of his acceleration. This is Getafe against Barca. Getafe defending. Uche wins the ball back. 1v2, the directness, the progressiveness, and eventually he plays it out wide to his teammate. So that is something that I like. Someone that can get the ball, that can drive it forward, that is not scared to take on players. All that just needs to happen at the end of the day is for him to really make the right decision. And I think that as long as he makes the right decision in those instances, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with. Um, there's another video. This is still against Barca. Gets the ball on the left side of the attack, in between two players, drives forward, wins the foul. So again, that's the reason why I was saying that those numbers I think might be a little bit skewed, because in this instance there was only so much that he could do. After winning the ball here, immediately gets squeezed by two people and then gets fouled. I think that they might be counting this as a loss of possession, even though ultimately, he didn't do anything wrong and he earned his side that has been under pressure a nice cooler, a nice break. So even though, yes, I'm saying, I can, so it can sound like I'm speaking from two sides of my mouth or from both sides of my mouth. But even though I am saying, oh, I think his decision making can be better, I also think that some of the numbers are not necessarily working in his favor. So I just got a notice now, a flag that they are detecting content that is owned by somebody else in the stream. So let me take out the videos. And for today, I won't be able to show any more videos because I don't want any flag. They just warned me now that we're detecting content from somebody else. Obviously, this is La Liga, so La Liga are very strict to their copyright. But I was trying my best to show these clips without, talking over it, adding the tactical analysis to it, muting the audio, to try to avoid any flags as much as possible. So yes, I think we can look at that and say, in terms of the position. So the three questions that we had, in terms of the position, not a striker number nine per se. Obviously, we've seen that, but also not a CM as far as Getafe is concerned. We're looking at someone that is more of like an attacking midfielder. That's the best word I can use to describe it based on the videos and based on the data. More of an attacking midfielder that tends to occupy the left side of the field for the most part. Maybe that's just because of the way Getafe plays. And if it comes to the Super Eagles, he'll play differently. But that's what the data is showing us. And the videos, obviously, are showing us so far. Now, what is he good at? He's good at driving the ball forward, progressive runs, progressive passes. He's good at winning fouls. He's good at aerial duels, offensive duels. He's strong both on the ground and in the air. What is he not good at, or what can he be better at? He can be better at the final ball, the final decision. When he drives the ball forward, what does he do with it? He can be better at that. What else can he be better at? I'm trying to think. I didn't show many clips of shooting, but finishing can be better as well. If you look at his videos of shots, finishing can be better as well. But what do I think is an underrated ability that, if he works on more, can be very impactful for Nigeria and for himself as a professional football player? Those through passes. I think he has good vision. I think he sees the field well. And I think that his passes can be dangerous. Again, I showed one very good one, but there are a couple others that I saw when I was going through his videos of just very, very good through balls to his teammates. Passes that are not necessarily the obvious choice that he sees and is able to get his teammates into dangerous position. I think that that's where he can be good at. Now, the third question, where can he fit in with the Super Eagles? I look at the way Eric Shell has played with the Super Eagles in these two matches. So I'm going to use Eric Shell and Eric Shell's style of play. That role that Eric Shell is playing Alex Iwobi and Samuel Chukwueze, not quite center midfield, not quite left winger, left attacking midfielder, right attacking midfielder. That's where I think he can fit in. He can drive the ball forward. He can win fouls close to the box. He can find the final ball if the opportunity comes on. And he can just be an engine for the team. The question is, would he rather play from the left or from the right? Based on the Getafe data, you can see that he prefers to play from the left. But is he better than Alex Iwobi? I don't think so. I don't think so. Can he also play from the right? I want to believe so. The only difference is that his crosses are not the most accurate. So if he's playing from the right, I don't know if he'll be delivering crosses like that. But if the idea is for him to come in inside, a little bit of the issue might be his weak foot and how good he is with his weak foot. It's something to be aware of. He is only successful with about 30% of his crosses, which maybe is not the worst in the world, but also can be better. And most of his crosses come from the left hand side, of course, because he occupies the left side for his team more often than not. If he cuts in on his left foot I don't necessarily know if he has that ability with his left foot to play the final ball, like the kind of final ball that we saw that he played with his right foot when cutting in from the left side. So it is something interesting that we should be aware of. But for me, based on what I've seen and based on the way that we play, I think that's half midfield role is where he's going to thrive. I don't see him as an Ndidi replacement like some people are suggesting. I don't see him as an Onyedika replacement or competition like some people are suggesting. Why? Because the tackles we haven't seen like that. The moving side to side and covering those spaces we haven't quite seen like that. But when you play him a little bit closer to the goal, I didn't mention this earlier, but recovering the ball in the final third of the field in the opponent's half, that is something that he can do well. And yes, he can track back a runner because he doesn't stop trying. He doesn't stop trying. I think those are the ways that he can benefit us. Those are the ways that he can be useful to the Super Eagles. And I think he is someone that's she in the team. I think so. I think he should be in the team. I think he deserves an opportunity to show what he can do. These things that we're looking at, I think he deserves an opportunity to show the coach, and for the coach to assess him closely and see if he can actually do a job for him. He's a young player. He's playing his first season as a professional footballer. Of course, he has some weaknesses. Of course, he has some areas that he needs to improve on. If he didn't, then it'll be one of the best players in the world. He's not there yet, but he is one of those players that, as long as he continues improving, as long as he gets a coach who believes in him, I think he can do a lot. I think he can do a lot, and I think that this is a player that we need to watch closely. We asked the question at the start. So why hasn't he been called up already? Obviously, the only person that can answer that question is the coach, Eric Shell, as well as maybe his technical team. I cannot tell you exactly why he has not been called up. But I think that the coaches just assessed him based on CM and striker. And as a CM, he doesn't compete with Ndidi, he doesn't compete with Onyedika. As an attacking CM, you don't necessarily think he's better than Aribo on the ball, his ability on the ball, things like that. So maybe they left him out in the previous times. As a striker, he doesn't compete with Osimhen, with um, Boniface, with Arokodare. Who else was called up? Sadiq even, because when it comes to striking ability, those guys are better strikers than him. But as that in between player, not a midfielder, not a striker, not a winger, just in between, that's where he does better than most. And I think that that's where he can thrive. And at least I believe that the Unity Cup, since we're going to have many of the regulars missing out, it might be an opportunity for him to show himself. Um, Getafe's last game of the season, Getafe's last game of the season is on the 25th of May, only 3 days before we play Ghana. So that also begs the question: is he going to run after we play Ghana and just immediately go to London to go and play against? Rather, after he plays his last game of the season, is he going to run to London to go and play Ghana? I don't necessarily know. Maybe he can be there for the second game, but I think that he should try to make himself available so that the coach can see him closely. Because I mean, if I have access to this data and these videos, the coach obviously does as well. But I think that the coach needs to see him really closely for him to be fully convinced that he can do a job and like can do the job better than some of the other options that he has at his disposal. Somebody said I do feel he's better than Aribo. I There are two different kinds of players. I disagree with that honestly. Aribo's technical ability, Aribo's ability on the ball, Uche doesn't come close. Let's be honest. It all depends on what you're looking for as the coach and what you're looking for in the player that's on your team. There's a reason why all the players they talk about Aribo and his techers. Because Aribo, that natural footballing ability to do interesting things with the ball, man, Aribo has it. He has it. Aribo cannot be as strong as him, of course. Aribo cannot. What's the word? I'm trying to think. What else can Aribo? Cannot be as good in the air. Of course not. You know, maybe winning balls back, Aribo is not as good. But Aribo has other qualities. Aribo is more of an attack mind. Um, Somebody says Aribo doesn't know how to carry the ball forward. I disagree. I disagree. Aribo knows how to carry the ball forward. If you've watched him play at Rangers when he was really doing well, I don't think you would say he cannot carry the ball forward. Obviously, Southampton was a step back in his career. I recognize that things didn't go the way that we would have hoped or expected them to go. We can't deny that. But I think we should not downplay the ability that Aribo has. Somebody says Aribo lacks the grit against African teams. I think that we overstate this African football thing. Honestly, my own opinion. I think we overstate this. Oh, African football this, African football that. If you sabi ball, you sabi ball. Yes, there might be some physicality and all those things. But if you sabi ball, you sabi ball. Aribo is not a weakling either. Aribo is tall. He's not as strong. Uche is just a pound of muscle. So don't get me wrong. Aribo is definitely not as strong as he is. But you know, I disagree on that. He lacks grit to play African football. No, he can. Okay. If anybody wants to come and comment on what we have seen today, wants to give their opinion, their thoughts, please call in. Please call in so that we can hear from you. I mean, his performance level obviously is playing in Southampton. Like, who in Southampton has not dropped, you know? So when you say he has dropped, like, his team sucks, man. Like, who in Southampton has not dropped, you know? And even nevertheless, Aribo was one of their best players this season, playing in multiple positions for them, sometimes even deputizing as a center back, just doing whatever he can to help the team. So for me, like, I'm not assessing Aribo based on, oh, Southampton sucks, so he's not. Yes, his level has in drop, but ability is still ability. Oh. It still has the ability. Obviously, you want to call players that are currently playing well, but there are two different kinds of players. This is like you telling me Boniface has dropped. So call I'm trying to think of a winger. Call Xavier Godwin. Different roles, different kinds of players, different attributes, different abilities. They are doing different things. But again, it's left to the coach, the gaps that the coach wants to fill in his team, what the coach thinks a player can bring or not bring to his team. But yeah, shout out to Christantus Uche, man. Quality player. Like I said, I think he deserves a chance. I think he has some attributes that can be useful to us. It's only a matter of time before when the coach decides to see him firsthand, and then we can really see whether or not you know he's the hero that we're looking for. Okay, let's hear from you guys. Good evening, Uche.
Hi, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes. Okay. So in regards to what you've been discussing, I think because it's his first season, so there are certain things we will just not like look off or probably just pass by, but there are things that he also needs to improve, like guiding the ball, ensuring that he carries the ball, hold it, carries it, so that no matter what happens, he's on his feet. Like there was a play you showed where he overhits the ball. I noticed most times he overhits the ball. He plays the ball off, and you just be like, "How ball? How long are you going? You won't be able to get that ball." So that's why he sometimes he gets fouled a lot because he has a long leg. He's trying to protect the ball, then he gets kicked. So I feel like those are the things he needs to improve on. Then we also have other midfielders that, if you check that first season, wasn't as good, like Ojediro in Hamzat.
A lens. Mm.
He's always on the bench. So if you see all those things, then you did see what he's doing. He's deputizing well in Spain. So these are things I'll cut slack for him. Then I feel like, especially in Nigeria, that the wing that Chukwueze deputized in the last two games, I feel like he can take that position. Or probably what's his name? I think the other person I was playing on the other side of the diamond was what's his name? Was
Simon.
was Simon. So he can play, since he functions well, his heat map is on the left. He can play that place. But in regards to, does he have the dribbling skills like Simon? No.
Mm,
Does he have the eye for all those short passes that Simon used to give what's his name, Lukman, back in the days? I'm not sure he has it, but can he improve? Yes, he can improve. And I feel like, especially with national team, usually if you check on bigger teams, whether it's Brazil, whether it's Germany, even though our country is not like that, though,
mm,
they usually call players that are in
mm,
form. So if you're looking across Super Eagles, who are those players that you think that, okay, are actually in form? That's why I said, okay, like right now, Aribo of 2017, 2019, 2020, maybe 2 years after pandemic, was okay, was good, was on his A game. But now I don't know what's wrong. I think he has lost confidence. Back in the days, rather than Aribo to take the ball back, he will carry the ball forward. But these
mm,
days, if you see, he's scared. Like, especially when I watch some of Southampton game, and he's in the game, you notice that he's trying to take the ball back rather than progressing the play. So I feel that's why I would choose him above Haribo. But if it's about skill wise, Haribo had the technique. Haribo had, but I hope he gets a better club. He gets a better club, because
mm,
this is what's the name, an AFCON year. So you want to make sure that you have been playing regularly before you can join the team. And I feel like he should also join for the Unity Cup. He should be there so that he can have what's the name. He can contend for the game against Russia. And I also
mm,
hope that they get us one African team again, because if we are going to play South Africa, we have to play at least two games in June. At least two games in June. If we don't play it, I'm not sure we'll beat South Africa. So
mm,
that's why I feel like we need to, because I if you watch those two games, there are certain places where you expected that, okay, they should hold the ball, play with themselves, especially during the Zimbabwe's game. Towards the end, they could have just held the ball, hold it, play with it. If you watch the PSG against Arsenal, the first leg, if you notice, when they noticed that Arsenal was coming hard on them, what they did was to slow down the pace of the game and ensure that Arsenal just got weary and got tired of it and were thinking about the next game rather
mm.
than winning that game or trying to draw the game. And I feel like that's what Nigeria should have done against Zimbabwe, but we just let the game slide by the way. So that's a few points I have.
You know, it's funny you mentioned that because now waiting we kill Barcelona yesterday.
Yeah,
Yamal could have taken the ball to the flag, but he tried to
yeah,
hit
yeah.
the
Before
post.
you know it, they were three
Before
or
you
three.
know it,
They were
yeah,
three
it's
or
three
three.
three. You know, but so I think you mentioned Moses Simon. You know, that's the thing. It's like the way we played. I
Hmm.
don't think he can take that Simon spot because we know
No,
that Simon was a focal point of the attack going
yeah,
up against the defender. The dribbling, the trickery, the crossing.
yeah. We
He
don't have
doesn't have that crossing ability,
don't have many players that
you
have
know.
that skill.
And that's the thing because Uche playing from that left side,
Hmm.
his left foot is not a strength of
That's,
his. So he can't be delivering crosses. And Simon, even though his left foot is his weak foot, Simon can still cross with his left foot. And he also has enough trickery to go and dance and bring it back to his right
practice
foot.
points. Yeah,
And
yeah,
then either play a short pass to Iwobi or to Lukman or
yeah.
cross it into the box. Whereas Uche doesn't necessarily have the ability. That's why I also, when I was talking earlier, I mentioned Iwobi because Iwobi was playing as a CM, but we know his job wasn't to do the defensive side of the game like that. Yes, he was having to cover spaces and having to win some balls back, but we know that he was more the progressive CM, the CM that is trying to move the ball forward, that is trying to link the midfield with the
Yeah.
attack. And I think that that's where he can come in. One thing that Iwobi doesn't do enough for us, which I feel is trying to play a very dangerous final ball.
I think he does it like with Iwobi, he does it like once in a blue moon.
Mm,
Like if you see that game, I think our first game in AFCON, you see that true pass he gave Osimhen. Osimhen wasted the ball. So I feel like where you will see him more function is maybe if he's playing from the wing, then he can play those beautiful true pass. There was a game I think I've forgotten the game in Fulham where I think the last match, that pass that he played in front for was this who had that ball for Will what's his name? Wilson, the number 8, the guy who wears number 8 jersey.
mm,
You saw that pass that he gave, like mad as pass. So I feel like he does it, he just needs to do it frequently. He doesn't do it frequently. I don't know. Sometimes he's shy, or maybe he's not self-imposing. Sometimes he gets tired easily. So I feel like for all those little, he doesn't do it frequently. So you wouldn't entrust our what's the name, our creativity to just him. You have to have other creative players, or maybe someone to support a supporting cast. And if you notice, if you're playing him, I think you need like two supporting pivots to help the team. Like
mm,
maybe an NDD will be good for him in the first half. Then you put like an Oyedika behind,
mm,
because if you leave kind of a responsibility for Iwobi during the game, like okay, defend for me a little bit. Man, don't worry. If we're playing a bigger team, we'll get before first half is done. They scored us probably like 2-0. So I feel like we need to get like someone else to help with the creativity in the middle. I don't
mm,
know whether Christantus can be that type of player eventually, but we will see with time though. But if his
mm.
creativity, won't give us every day. It's just there. I think that's what he needs. But he's already 29. Can the 29-year-old midfielder work on that? That's another thing.
It's. I mean, I don't really think that if he's not already part of his Arsenal,
Yeah,
very very low chance that
yeah,
he's going to add it at this stage in his career.
yeah.
Somebody is saying add me. The link has been posted and is pinned. So if you want to join, click the link and then you can share your thoughts. If you are watching on Instagram, you have to go to YouTube and click the link from there, or if you can type the link as pinned on Instagram into your browser, that also works. But you cannot join directly from Instagram. You have to use the link that has been shared. Okay, so someone is also suggesting, which I think can be an interesting suggestion. The person
Mm,
is saying, why not move Iwobi into that Chukwueze role and then
mhm.
play Uche where Iwobi was playing? What do you think about that?
Hmm. Okay. Yeah, that's also good, but you won't expect him to play those killer passes. You don't expect him to play those killer passes. But it's true that could work, because then he will be able to defend from the top. So he's behind what's his name? Osime. So if he's behind Osimhen, so you then have two guys defending from the top, and
Mm.
then yeah, so yeah, that could actually work properly, very very well. But you won't expect maybe then we will be doing the creativity from Chukweze's wing, but you
But
wouldn't expect him to do much.
the thing I think is like it depends on how much the attackers really show for him. He might not necessarily have to be creative, Uche, if he's playing in that Iwobi role. But I think again, like I said, and the numbers were suggesting when he has to play those 20 yards, 30 yards progressive passes, he has an eye for it and is able to find it accurately. It's very weird to me that somebody's long passes be more accurate than the person's short passes. I don't know how that is the case, but somehow his
Mm,
long passes are more accurate than his short passes. So it's like if he's playing on in that Iwobi role, he's on the left side of the midfield where his Getafe data shows that he likes to occupy most of the time and does most of his play from. Now, putting the ball on his right foot, I think there's a potential for if Iwobi is from that right hand side, making diagonal runs into the box, or maybe somebody driving forward. He looks like Eze looks like I say Eze Uche looks like the kind of player that's maybe not every single time because he hasn't shown it in every single time, but sometimes he can see that pass and he can deliver the two ball to the person, that
Yeah.
would be good. And the person just has to do a good job of finishing. So it is something that he could still do. But also, I think even if he's there, the creative load is not necessarily going to be on him. Simon is ahead of him. Let Simon go to work. Lukman is there. Let Lukman go to work. Iwobi is on the other side. Let Iwobi go to work. And you can do more of, okay, recover the ball high up the field. Indeed, he's going to be recovering the ball when it's close to
Okay.
the box. The defensive midfielder. He can
But do you
recover the
think
ball in higher areas. And then you can even lay it off to your more creative players to get the job done. What are you going to ask?
but do you think him and what's the name Ndidi will be a good like dynamics, that there'll be a balance in the middle?
They have to learn each other. And indeed, you will have to teach him as well. Because obviously, Uche is the kind of guy that he's used to getting the ball and just going forward. And of course, if he loses the ball and it is not a free kick, it means that he has left a gap. So
Yeah.
I think it is a case of understanding the game better, understanding your teammates,
But
knowing when to run with the ball versus when to just pass it off and let somebody else do the running. Because obviously chemistry. I think it's
yeah,
just with
matters.
time. It's just with time. Because the way he plays at his club, you can kind of tell now that the players understand him better. He understands his teammates better. He knows that, okay, if I occupy the left, somebody else is going to occupy that middle position, which is his actual position. People, they move around well. So I think it's just a matter of time. He's a guy that works hard. So for me, I have no doubts on that side of whether or not he's going to track back or things like that. I think it's just the only asterisk that I have in my mind is his decision making. Knowing when to run. Okay, when you run with
When
it,
to release the
when
ball.
it's time to release the ball versus, oh, you knock it heavy now, you just put your body, they foul you. And because the truth is that winning fouls is good, but sometimes, my guy, you could have got an assist, but now you're giving us free kick. So
Yeah,
what?
like that ball's like, wait, why not
It's
you
like,
move it a bit?
just pass it
Yeah,
and you get an assist. Why are you giving us free kick? We don't want free kick. Like in today's world, how many free kicks are scored? You
yeah.
know,
How many of them are specialists? How
so
many
it,
specialists
it
do we
is
have in Nigeria?
is a very interesting thing. But I don't know. I like him. Doing this breakdown on him, I've watched more than 100 of his clips from this season. I like him as a player. I like his determination. I like his directness. I like the fact that he's not scared. Anybody that he's coming up against, he's not
It's
scared.
always right.
You
Yeah.
can tell that he's a Nigerian player that has not blown yet because the effort that is given, saying a person we won't prove something, somebody that is still really starting. And I hope that he can keep the effort like that because look at Osimhen. Osimhen is a perfect example of he has blown now, but Osimhen still plays as if he's fighting for his next salary.
Like in the fine in Chacha.
Honestly,
Yeah.
he's still playing as if, if I don't score today, that my
Yeah.
career has finished. As if he's still trying to prove himself, even though he doesn't have anything that he still needs to prove to people. So I want to believe that Uche has that mentality.
But
For
on that
for the
thing,
most
like,
part, while I was having this breakdown, for the most part, he was actually on the live watching. So
nice.
maybe he has seen certain things that he can go and, or maybe it's even things that he already knows and his team and his analysts have already told him about.
Yeah.
But I find him interesting, honestly. Go on, sir.
Yeah. On that thing, why I feel like, okay, him being added, like especially like with that diamond formation, I feel like when he's there, right, what will happen is that we would whenever we are not with the ball, we'll have like how do I call it, three midfielders, people that can function like midfielders. So he will talk in, then he will be talking as a midfielder without the ball. So would at all times either be playing a 4-3-3 or
4-4-2.
4-4-2. So that's why, and Iwobi understands those playing as he can play as a midfielder, he can play as a winger, he can go sit down at the top of the diamond, and what's his name? Christantus can come to the right. So I feel like there's balance with that formation, and then indeed he just has to screen the defense for us until maybe second half. Then they can bring in it out Oyedika. So it's actually a good addition to the team. He will bring balance, and then when we're facing a physical side like South Africa, that's when he would come up. Like it would be beautiful, like him playing against South Africa. But hopefully, I hope the what's name coaching department sees it that way, because they can decide now that maybe Musa should play.
Bro, I don't. I think I don't think that's something that's going to happen.
I
Right?
never can tell. Nigeria will shock you. Uh, you can't. Do you forget 2022? The night before,
I understand you. I
ah,
understand you. Um.
like
Okay.
we saw that most times. Anytime I remember that second leg against Ghana, I weep because like we sold the game. We would
Mm,
have easily won that game. We just sold that game by bringing in Igalo and playing him with Osimhen.
mm. Okay. I was just looking at some. I was looking at some data, and
Mm-hmm.
I think I want us to just look at this very quickly. 1 second. Let me put it on the screen.
Mm.
Okay. So we are looking at this is in transition. Okay, no, this is not in transition. I think this is just his general play. Um, so on top we have ball recoveries, and on the bottom we have losses of
Really visit
possession.
the ball.
So just looking at ball recoveries in his own third, 52 recoveries in his central third, 68, final third, 49. So he does most of his ball recovery in the center of the park or in his own half.
Okay.
I think that this is also influenced by the fact that Getafe is is a team that is always sitting back,
Yeah.
you know. But his number in the final third is still quite high, almost as much as in his own third. So if we look at it, is mostly center of the park and final third.
Yeah.
So that's where most of his recoveries are coming from. So I think that still ties into what we've kind of been talking about. Um, we also have counter pressing mostly in central third and the final third. So this is a guy that's from the middle of the park going forward.
He's
Those are
good.
the areas that we think that okay, he's going to really be able to do a job. Now, losses of possession. It's kind of similar thing that we're looking at here. I don't know if you guys can that are watching can see it. Let me zoom in a little bit. But losses of possession.
On
So
top.
we have final third 223 times that he's lost possession, central third 147, and own third 37. I think the good thing here is that he's not losing the ball in his own half.
Yeah.
So it's not because if you lose your ball in your own third,
I'll go. I need to
very dangerous situation.
I'll
But you
go.
see that final third 223, you just
Yes.
want to believe that
His decision is, I think, is the
it's
decision
decision
make
making
the fight just the final decision,
and it can be
and
better.
sometimes maybe the what's the name, the foul that he gets to concede.
Hmm.
So that could also be a problem, especially if it's on the final. But it's a lot though, like 223.
And I'm
So
looking at the map here that is showing us, I don't even want to really consider the lost goals. I'm most even interested in the inaccurate pass, which is the gray. I don't know why they use this kind of gray that is not very easy to see. But you look at the inaccurate passes in the final third.
that's a lot.
The,
But
sorry, the good thing is that a lot of the passes direction seem to be going towards the
the
penalty area. So it's kind of like a situation whereby right idea but wrong execution. It's like what you want to do is good, what you are thinking of is good,
the thing
but
can the leg know the answer.
exactly. But it's
Mm.
just like me now. I can tell you what to do. Does not mean I can do. It's like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so. I think that that's the thing. You were going to say something.
Yeah, so I feel okay. Like there was this play I saw, the one that he was driving through the defense, right, against Barcelona.
Mm.
Then he played it to the side. Like I think the other guy was approaching him. I feel like if he had driven through the defense the same way he drove through the defense in the first attack, that he would have had better chances at either committing a foul. I don't know whether that ball led to a goal because I remember that match ended in a draw. So I feel like the from the countenance of the defenders, They were already scared about his approach because one, he's bigger than them and he could easily bully his way through. He just had to do like maybe a step. I just the talker maybe. So like I feel like he would have pushed in rather than just laying the pass there because by playing that pass there he killed the attack. Because if he's to lay the pass, he has to make another run into the defense, which he didn't do. So I feel like those little he needs to work on that. But he's his first season, so as long as he's getting playing time, he will definitely go back, look at his videos, and see that okay, I need to improve this aspect of my game. Then in regards to his I think another thing is maybe because most times when you are getting towards the end of the season, then you tire out. I think because he's getting to the end of the season, he's now committing more fouls because he wasn't receiving like red card at the beginning. But because the season is getting towards the end, so there's always a possibility that those players will make mistake because they're tired. So I feel like it's his first season, so he's allowed to make all those kind of mistakes. Not like he received maybe 4 red card. Then I think he also needs to reduce his temper. Like especially that day he was
Frustrated.
it was Smith that Smith was like, see as they do this now, they feel banner like for
Hmm.
3 matches, and they did it. And I think in the report, the referee was like he was speaking back at them even after they had told him to
To
leave,
leave.
leave the pitch. So yeah, I think those are the things he needs to work.
Somebody, Larry here is asking. He said, "IoT, in your opinion, does the player have a yellow card or red card problem?" So I think it is. I can't say he has a yellow and red card problem. Obviously, when a player gets more than one red card in a season, we look at it and say, what are you doing?" Um, I think it is more he has a tackling problem. He does not really know how to tackle.
Yeah,
And that's another reason why I'm saying I don't think he comes to replace an Ndidi in the team. Because Uche, 15 minutes in don't chop yellow. Now you are thinking about it for the rest of the game because he doesn't really know how to time that tackle so good.
it,
Can he improve at that? Potentially can. Um, he has 8 yellow cards and 2 red cards in 35 games.
it it is a lot though. That is two games already on the yellow card. He has lost 2 games on the yellow card.
So it is a lot, but I don't necessarily think it's a I think it's just a tackling a
If you
tackling
if
issue.
you have that with a defensive midfielder, then
Is
that's
more understandable
yeah,
because you
because
say okay, because there are people that like I'm a Chelsea fan. Caicedo, almost every game Caicedo, even when Kante was there, almost every game, say Kante will chop yellow. He won't get red card, but
yes,
he
yellow,
will
yeah,
get yellow. So if it was a DM, you'd be like, yeah, it makes sense. He's
yeah,
tackling, he's putting in how many tackles per game. It kind of makes sense. But for him, you look at it that why is he getting he has 34 tackles in total this season and he has 10 bookings, 8 yellow cards, 2 red cards. So it's like 1 in 3 tackle in a booking. That's a
that,
that's a bit much. So he has a tackling problem. I think he needs to just improve that side of his game, know how to time his tackles better. You know, you still want him to have the courage to be able to go into tackles, but you just have to read the game better. You have to know when you have a good chance of winning the ball. And that's another reason why I think it's also good that he's playing more in his own half than rather in the opponent's half than in
yeah,
his own half. Because
because
if
try
he's
that
good on those
for
tackles, you're conceding
especially
free kicks,
go
things like that.
good chance. Yeah,
You know.
he probably will be
So
getting a lot of red card.
I
Then
wouldn't knock him too much for it right now. Yeah, since his last red card, he has not played. I don't know if his ban is up yet.
he's up. He's up.
Yeah, but
He has
hopefully we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Because another thing is that these leagues like the Spanish league, and just for context, so in his first like 15 games of the season, he got 3 yellow cards, but then suddenly he started racking them up. And the thing is that when these guys see that you are a guy that likes to complain, you are getting frustrated,
they'll start doing it
you
more.
look for anything that you can as a competitor, anything that you can to gain an advantage over your
Yeah,
opponent.
opponent, yeah.
So when they see that this guy, okay, he's always complaining, oh, he's always that, they will start to this thing. All it takes is for somebody to one time just give you one hard push. Then next time you want to come with full force. Players are so clever now. All they have to do is just touch the ball a little bit. You take their leg, they
And they
give
fall down.
you
And
yellow card.
yeah,
Things like that. So it's just, I think it's with maturity, with more game time, with more, awareness, whatever. Like, there's no way I'm not better than the coaches that he has. So I'm sure his coaches will sit down with him and show him certain things that okay, you can do this better, you can do that better. It's just that we've
one
already
thing I've also
we've
noticed.
already got a warning. If not, I would have gone to find some videos of his tackles, but I don't want to risk it for today. But if you see his tackles, you can see that it's not always the best tackling
Not clean.
decision.
It's not clean.
But I
He's
I
still gonna
don't.
get it though. But on that thing, I noticed, especially with playing with the Super Eagles or something, you notice that most times when they come in, they get a zeal to go back and represent more. You see like a change in their approach
Mm,
towards games. Like if you those ones that are actually playing well, like if you see it will be after the last Nations Cup, he got better after
mm,
a lot of criticism. So I think it's also going to help him too, especially when he has like you are getting what's the opinions about your play from two different coaches or two
mm,
different instructors. So you definitely see that okay, this man mentioned this, this person is mentioning the same thing. So I really need to work on it. So most times when one person is telling you, you might probably be thinking like, oh, maybe the person wishes me bad. But once you start hearing it from different people, that same criticism, then you know, okay, I need to work on myself. So especially with that, I feel like he's going to get better, especially with the tackling, because he really needs to work on that if he wants to become a great midfielder.
mm,
I
mm.
see most times when I see the way he plays, I feel like it's not as skillful as Toure though, but I think he might be like a,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
a
yeah, yeah,
terrible
is a
version.
different level. Yeah, yeah, Yaya could do every single thing on the ball.
Yeah,
He could do
but
everything.
if you see, Toure started in okay, he started in Olympiacos. He started as a midfielder, then moved to where's the name? Moved to Barcelona and was
Mm,
playing as a defender. Started as a central defender before he went to Man City and became who he is today.
mm,
So that's why I feel like if he did body, he go did body, and he has that attributes of being a good box to box midfielder, if not a good what's the name 10, but a good 8, he would definitely function properly.
mm,
Hopefully he because these days most times they go show you say they will get there. Like one person who I been follow, we sometimes I would just look and say, why they break our heart? See Boniface. See Boniface of Union. Is this the Belgian club, right? What was that club? Uh,
Singular.
and then his decision making was on point, but as time went by, hopefully they just put their heads down and keep chasing again. Yeah.
Mm. Okay. Somebody says Olu says in the DM Uche/Onyeka right CM, Iwobi left CM, Bashiru AM,
Yeah, we forgotten
then
about yourself.
Osime and Lukman. You just dump Moses Simon Olu.
No, this is what's his name? I feel like Mr. Simon. This is his team. I think this is his team.
Shell likes him. Oh.
Yeah, huh. You go
Shell
they,
likes
they
him.
play every day. Oh. That one is certain. And I think he played. Mr. Simon played on that 13 nation. Sorry, under 20, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Moses Simon.
Yeah.
I think he did.
So that he has given Super Eagles like close to a decade football. That's actually impressive. Like staying there, and another thing is we're not having like you were discussing yesterday. We're not having players come from the underage teams anymore. Like maybe get a midfielder, get a winger. We're no longer having that again coming from the under 20. So I feel like that's why our midfield has been suffering we do not have like enough body in the midfield. Like no players coming from the under 20s anymore. And that's something that we also Nigeria needs to look at.
Mm.
Under 20, under 17, so that we can in the next decade or even 5 years, even if they can give us 5 years. Suffer did not play that long. Ikechukwu Uche did not play that long. So we need like how do I call it a way on how to just get all this talents in, because we do not know when the next Okocha is going to come again. Or God.
Daniel said if he improves some part of his game, he can be a Yature from Timu. Oh God, you people are mean.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you, Uche. I think we're going to wrap up for today. Thank you guys for tuning in. Let me know who you want us to discuss. Maybe next week we'll have another tactical breakdown like this on a different player. Um,
Have you done Daily Bashir?
mm, it's not really a player of interest right now.
Mm.
I want to I my idea is to do this for players that people are having questions about, so that we can try to answer certain questions that people might have, or certain things that people might not be so aware or clear on. Nobody's really asking questions about Dele Bashir right now. I know he was injured last time. Let's see if he comes back. So if
Mm.
there's any, maybe if there's a player that
What about Duro City?
so someone like this might be interesting. If there's a player that maybe there are reports of him potentially getting a call up to the Super Eagles, maybe he's a dual national player that people are talking about getting called up, and we want to know if the person actually can offer something to the team, or even if he's a Nigerian player that is just getting a lot of hype and attention and people want to know more about. That's the idea of these tactical Wednesdays.
Okay.
I know I did not make a prior announcement to coming live today. In the future, when I'm going to do it, I'll make an announcement. Somebody was asking, even today, is there any day that you put on your TV that Super Sport is not on? Is there any day that you put on your TV that ESPN is not on or anything? So we'll be doing lives as often as we can.
So
Obviously,
that means if it's someone that are talking, I heard these days they'll be talking about what's his name, Tino Ajori.
for still, I had him on my list as somebody to potentially do a breakdown on. Yeah, I had him on my list because he's
Because
another player that is interesting to look at. Because even I have to admit, I've not been following him that closely before until he started getting all these Super Eagles talk. So even I want to learn more about him and what he can offer. So
he's been
Anjorin
out injured
is
lately.
an interesting one.
He's
Yeah.
been out injured. Like I've not seen him in the last. I've been trying to check. Most times when I check like Empoli games, and I want to see, he's always injured. So that I don't know when he's going to be back.
Mm.
He's been having that same injury, the thigh injury. I don't know what's wrong with him.
But he played. I think he played 2 games last month. So
2 games last month.
yeah. So see if he's back.
Most times I see, whenever I check the list, I see like he's injured.
He was injured for a while, but I know he came back last month and he played 2 games. Somebody is saying George Lenny Kena. Onyedika, we kind of already know Onyedika, Chukwemeka. These are not guys that are really in the picture right now. I like the Anjorin suggestion because Anjorin is very much being talked about. I also like, I was thinking of this goalkeeper, Arthur Okonkwo, because
Mm,
obviously people talking about him a lot. We don't have that many goalkeeper options. So let's see what he can do for us,
mm.
if he joins the team. So I think Anjorin, Okonkwo, they are keepers that I have in mind. Um, and I'll let you guys know if I'm coming next Wednesday or the Wednesday after, whichever day it is. But I'm trying to add this to our calendar of programs. Hopefully, people get more and more interested in these things. I know not everybody cares about seeing tactical breakdown and seeing data and all these things. Even I, honestly, I'm just starting to learn to like data analytics because sometimes I feel like people focus too much on data and close their eyes and don't watch
At the game.
and don't watch the game anymore. And they're just, oh, his XG is this, oh, his XG. And I'm just like, oh, please, can you keep quiet? But,
Mm.
that's why I'm trying to show data and also trying to show clips so that we can use both eye test and then see if the data backs up what we are seeing with our eyes or shows us something else. Because, like I said, just based on the data alone, you look at Uche and say, oh, it's a striker. But when you really look at it closer, you're like, okay, well, it might start as the striker, but when he's playing, is clearly not the striker. He's not the focal point of the attack. Um, so I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Hopefully next week we have more people tuned in. Or let me know. I'm not promising next week, but next time, hopefully we have more people tuned in. Thank you, Uche, for joining me and
No problem.
giving your contribution. Send my regards to your cousin who we just analyzed. Thank you.
Nice one. Yeah,
Yeah.
fine.
So yes, guys, that is Tactical Wednesday. Christantus Uche. The first one. Please, before we go, let me know your thoughts, guys. Let me know your thoughts. Did you guys like it? What do you think we should have done differently? Feedback, comments, all that good stuff. Please let me know very quickly. Somebody said add the Super Falcons on this tactical episode as well. Are you saying the Super Falcons team as a whole, or are we talking about a specific player on the Super Falcons? And somebody is saying they've organized friendly for the Super Falcons against Cameroon. Let me quickly talk about that. Yes, we've seen the reports. Is yet to be officially announced, but the Super Falcons players have definitely been told that they are going to be in action this international break. I'm not. If anybody expecting me to now be giving props to the NFF, I'm not giving them any props. They are doing the basic of what they're supposed to do. They need to organize the second match. Let the Super Falcons play two matches in the window. I'm not going to give them credit because they organized one match against Cameroon. They should organize two matches. That's what it's supposed to be. The window is available for the teams to play two games. They should organize the second game. This is the least that they can do. So if anybody expecting me to praise them for organizing one friendly against Cameroon, kudos. You know. So yeah, that's that on that. We need to prepare our girls in the best way possible. It doesn't seem like anybody's giving suggestions or feedback. So we are going to call it a night. Okay, now Meka says Super Falcons as a whole. Okay, noted. We can definitely look at the Super Falcons team, their style of play, and all that stuff. We can look at it next week or the week next time I come on live. Watch out for me because all you know, I might be live again tomorrow to discuss something else. If I'm free. But I want to definitely make a habit of doing more live streams. On Monday, we have the Nigeria FC podcast. On Tuesday, we have Wahala Day. On Wednesdays, we'll have the Tactical Wednesdays. Thursdays, I don't know what's yet. Fridays is for Friday Night Football Club on Gun Football, as well as new videos on Eagle Tracker on Fridays. Saturdays and Sundays is to enjoy our football. But whenever there's an opportunity to come on live to talk about something, to have a conversation, we would always try to take that opportunity up. And then, of course, live watch alongs during the Super Eagles matches, during the Super Falcons matches. We are wishing our Flying Eagles all the very best as they have qualified now for the quarterfinal of the Under 20 Africa Cup of Nations. And just make sure you're locked in. If you haven't liked the video, guys, please like, because most of you that are watching have not hit the like button yet. So please, guys, please like the video. Please like the video. Like the video. If you want to support, feel free to always leave a super chat. If you are watching on replay, you can always leave a super thanks still, as a way of supporting the channel so that we can keep bringing you guys more content and we can keep creating. And yeah, always taking your suggestions in the comments. Thank you very much, guys. I hope you guys have a wonderful night. Kelvin says, it is nice. Keep it going.